breast is still saggy. Do you know what I mean? My breast is still saggy. My thighs still jiggle. So if I wanted to look at myself with scrutiny as opposed to acceptance, there's definitely more work that I can do.
No matter what people say.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zogi and I'm a Gemini, which is why this channel is called Zogi the Gemini. So today I am here to have a sit down with you guys and actually talk to you guys about how life has truly been for me after losing a lot of weight, right? After a massive weight loss transformation and then flying to the DR and then having reconstructive surgery. So if you are interested to see how I now view the world, going from 215 kg, losing 100 kg, then doing surgery, then losing a further 20 kg, how the world has treated me, and how I'm now treating the world, mentally, emotionally, all of that, then make sure you stay tuned. Or if you're there, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get into the video. So I think one of my videos, I think the first video I posted here, the life update, I love you guys so much because just generally the response I've been getting is so positive. And it's like, I knew y'all after me, I knew y'all fucked with me, but people are genuinely happy for me. Not even in the sense that like, okay, yeah, well done, but it's kind of like, no, like, I love how so many people are like, yeah, Zogi, we've been here. We know you, we know how you've been, we know what you're saying now is what you've been saying, do you know what I mean? And it's almost like, you know, they say to be seen is to be loved, to be heard or to be seen, do you know what I mean? I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel loved, and I just, but anyway, so yeah, I said, let me sit down with you guys. The reason why I'm even looking at my phone is because I actually made some bullet points that I really want to make sure that I touch upon, yeah? And in terms of life after weight loss, massive weight loss, and then having life after surgery, I feel like I am now placed in a new reality. A completely new reality. I feel like for the past 4 years, I've had 3 identities, 3 realities, yeah? The first reality is the reality I grew up in, right? I grew up morbidly obese, I grew up biggest, the biggest in the room, the tallest in the room, the darkest in the room. That's always been my brand, that's always been me. So for many, I mean more than 2 decades, that's the identity I knew, that's the identity I loved, and that's the identity I really went through the world. I didn't even that identity, yeah, despite anything and everything, I never let it ever like get to me, like ever, even though people branded it as, you know, being the biggest, being the tallest, being the darkest quite negatively, I try to take those identities and be like, yeah, I'm this, but I'm more than just this. You can't just say, oh yeah, you're just a fat girl, you're just a dark skinned girl, you can't, because bro, I'm a whole embodiment of some bad boy characteristics, as I've told you guys. But there's that reality, right? So navigating the world in a world that shuns you, in a world that ridicules you, in a world that really makes you feel like a second-class citizen. There's that, right? And then there's like the slimmed down version. Not slim version, because I'm still not slim till today, but me don't mind. So there's the slimmed down version, yeah? And that's the after the post weight loss version, 100 kg down. And I like it, even though my weight loss wasn't slow, it wasn't like too fast, in a sense that I lost weight over the years. So I got to see the change of behavior over the years. I got to see how society treated me differently over the years. I got to see how women, how aunties, uncles, like the general public treated me over the years. And I got to see how men treated me over the years. So I really was able to shift from one reality, that reality of always being, you know, ridiculed, people always having something to say, people always making a comment, everyone's cha, when you never ask people for their opinion. But anyways, that, yeah, so there was the big version of Zogi, then there was the slimmer version, and then now there is the 120 kg down, then 7 procedures done, the lipo, the arm tuck, the back lift, the muscle repair, the did I say something? Do you get what I mean? There's this version where I've had like all these procedures done to essentially make my body tight and make my body the best version of myself and the best version of how my body can look. Now, how the world is, I at this point is a completely different reality. One, I didn't even necessarily think that that would be the case. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm happy with, you know, when you go from one spectrum to another, and when I say spectrums, I'm not talking about weight. Don't think I'm talking about, oh, I was really big and now I'm really skinny. No, it's the fact that one spectrum was, I had many, and I probably still do, but just less than I had before, characteristics that people generally, not just men, but women too, whether they want to be my friends, whether they want to be seen with me, even like making connections, they saw it as less desirable. So my shade is still the same, right? But my size has changed. The structure of my body has changed. Do you know what I mean? The actual structure of how my fat is deposited right now has changed. And I think that is the most drastic way in which I can see the changes of how society is treating me. But I'm happy with how, I feel like I know the truth of how society really, people don't really get to experience when you're the heaviest each and every single time. And I'm not blaming anyone. It was my body, it's my doing, yeah. But I get to see a part of reality that you that's watching the video, you probably won't ever, like some of you can relate 100%, but majority of people cannot relate being more than 200 kg. That's niche. That is a niche, right? Most people can't actually comprehend losing like a weight that is above them. Most people are not even up to 120 kg, talk less of losing 120 kg, and even losing that, and I'm not stick thin. So most people can't necessarily fully understand where I'm coming from. You can sympathize, and a lot of you do, and I love you guys. You guys got such great empathy and sympathy, but you can kind of like try to like relate, yeah, and use your own kind of personal experiences. Not quite, but similar, right? But the reason why I'm saying that is because, how do I explain it? Until you're in that position and you see how people treat you, the look that people do, even like people not really wanting to be associated with you, people not really want to take pictures with you, like that kind of disassociation with society. No, the way society disassociates with you, what am I talking about? Do you know what I mean? The way society just keeps trying to put you in a box and just push you to the left and kind of just segregate you, yeah? You won't really know how that feels until you are walking in those shoes, until you can see how you're being treated, and you can compare how you're being treated in comparison to your friend, to your cousin, to people around you. So you can truly, and people, they really like to let fat people know, we don't fuck with you. We don't like you. People are very opinionated. People are very quick to say this, that, you need to do so and so. So many people are quick to tell bigger people, oh, this is why you need to lose weight. You're kidding. People are quick with it, right? So with the way society treated me, that then created a version of how I view the world, right? So there's there, and as I said, there was a slimmer down version. People became nicer, right? People were very much more willing to do things for me. And when I say that, just simple as open the door, I can't lie, take pictures with me, like just the kind of like affiliation. The slimmer I got, the more people wanted to be affiliated with me. There's that, yeah. And now, even girls, like guys, the way guys treat me now is completely different. But that's going to be a video in itself, right? I'm going to talk about those, let me not call them useless, well, let me just talk about those beings in a video within itself. But even the way girls treat me now is different. Do you know what I mean? In a sense that, like, girls are like, oh yeah, you can come over to our table. Like, even when I go out, there's this whole increase of association. There's this increase of like, oh, like, we can get to know each other. And these are people that don't know about my socials. Just generally just basing it off what they can see. That affiliation of that new form of wanting that alliance, wanting that affiliation, wanting that association. That's not something I had previously. Being in my new realm, yeah, this version of me have been the most challenging when it comes to confidence, because the way in which people move now, it's like, yeah, now you deserve some type of affiliation, association. Now you deserve like, oh no, you look good, like you should wear this, you should wear that. Do you know what I mean? This whole like, no, you don't need to do nothing. People, all of a sudden, people are not trying to give me think pieces as to how I can change my life, how I can transform my life, how I can improve my life. Now people are okay, cool, I think you know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And that is so drastic to how it was before. Even when I had lost the way, people were always having their opinions, but their opinions are still there. Don't get me wrong. One thing people are gonna do is share their opinions, but that has drastically reduced, yeah. But the impact it even has on my confidence is, I am so happy, and I urge you and I hope that on this channel we got a variety of people. We've got different genders, we've got different races, we've got different ethnicities, we've got different body sizes. But I specifically want to talk to girls who look like how I previously looked. And I've spoken about the importance and the key criteria of ensuring you have confidence at every stage. Because if you feel like you are going to wait to gain confidence when you get to a particular point, because you feel like, oh, people are cussing you now, people are getting onto you now, but you feel like by the time you lose weight or by the time you get to a certain milestones, people will embrace you more. I'm telling you, one thing people will do is have an opinion. I literally just said it. People will always have an opinion, and I'm so happy. What has helped me with this transformation and this change, like a literal change of life and life experience, is the fact that I have always been sure in who I was. I said in a video that I haven't always loved my body, but I've always loved myself. And I feel like sometimes that doesn't make sense to people. It's where you see yourself as more than just what you see in a mirror. You know that you will become exactly who you want to become. So if you want to lose the weight, you will lose the weight. If you want to gain the weight, you'll gain the weight. I've always seen, and I hope it has come across in my videos, yeah, that I've always seen myself as an entity as opposed to just the fact. That's why my content has never been, correct me if I'm wrong here, my content has never really been like plus size liberation, right? Indirectly, I have liberated plus size, but it's not necessarily plus size liberation. It's always been like, alright, cool, I'm big. What do you want me to do? I'm gonna live life. That's why I gave you guys the travel vlogs. I'm gonna wear what I wanna wear. That's why I gave you guys the hauls. I'm gonna do lingerie. That's why I gave you guys the lingerie hauls. I'm gonna do what I want to. That's why you had the variety of videos. I'm gonna date, right? I'm not gonna be desperate when I'm gonna date. And I told you guys, oh, what? Just because I'm bigger, that means I should just accept anyone. You guys know from way back when, right? I've always said, you take fat because me big small. You take fat because me belly round. I should be accepted and just accept any type of attention because you're paying me attention when I'm not mad. You really think that at any time society could ever wash me up so much that try to like gaslight me into believing that any form of attention, any type of attention from any type of man, I should feel lucky because I'm a bit, bro, if you don't like me, don't like me. Because one thing you will need to realize, men like what they like. You may have just not come across a guy who genuinely likes you for who you are. Do you know what I mean? And that you will get there. He might not even be in your area. He might not be in your country. He might, do you know what I mean? He just might not be around. But there's definitely men that will appreciate you for whatever size you are. So having that mentality before is what makes me now be able to really navigate the world without any resentment. And that's the key thing. When you see a when you see a drastic change of how people treat you, you have some form of resentment because you're thinking, okay, I deserve this now. I deserve all this niceness allegedly. So you mean to tell me she didn't deserve it because she was a bit bigger? She didn't deserve for people to just say hi to her. Did she deserve for people to mock her because she was bigger? Did she deserve for girls not really wanting to be associated with her because she was bigger? Did she deserve for guys to be making jokes like, oh yeah, move to her, try to see, She didn't deserve it. So, but nonetheless, I'm trying to not get too wrapped into that, yeah? I'm listening to these things, not because I'm like still hurt over them, yeah? But sometimes it does get to me, especially where people are like really congratulating me, since I've got a lot of congratulations, which I obviously appreciate, but then I then compare it to obviously how I was treated before. But even though I talk about how I was treated before, I genuinely feel like that needed to happen. So if you are bigger and you are so fed up with how people treat you, how ignored you feel by the world, how you feel like a side character, how you feel like a second-class citizen, I'm telling you, those are the foundations. Those are the foundations you need. If I wasn't treated like how I was treated before, right, then I wouldn't really know the extent of how humanity can be. If I wasn't treated like how I was treated before, I won't know the true extent to how people can treat you when they're not attracted to you, when they find you undesirable. You just don't feel like you quite fit in with a social quo, where you just don't look aesthetically pleasing, where you're just not that person that they feel like they can be associated with. Because I know the reality of how people are, and let's say for example now people are like, oh, you look so good, like girl, what are you giving let me go and gain weight again. Like, God forbid, I don't plan to ever gain weight, but let me go and gain weight. And that's one thing where I find it so funny, yeah, where obviously I get it, it's a trauma response where, let's say for example, there's a content creator, they were really big before, they lose a lot of weight, and I feel like so many of them are just like, you know, looking back, I was just so unhealthy. I was so unhappy. I was dying. I get it. I was 215 kg. I was probably slowly dying. But the reality of it is some things can be left unsaid. Because the reason why I won't make certain comments, because there are people that are still there. There's people that was who I am. So of what benefit is me to say, but every fat person knows that the reality of their situation. Every big person knows the extent to which it's impacting their life. Maybe not the full extent, but they know, they can see how people's mobility are, and they know how their mobility are. So you don't need anyone on the internet, especially someone that you find comfort in. You don't need them to then lose weight and then be highlighting how bad it was before. I get it, and I can't tell people to not do that. But the reason why I personally will never do that is because if you are so quick to be like, oh, and I felt she was ugly, and I felt she was that. You see one thing with life? You see how you're like, yeah, she looked bad, she didn't look good, then now all the guys are, you could easily become her again. You can, that's what, and if not, that's not the reason why I don't talk down on my former self. That's definitely not the reason. But the reality is, yeah, you can chat. But you see one thing with life, and I feel like it's low-key more prone, the more negative you go at your former self, the more likely, I can't lie, and the reason why I think it's linked with insecurity. So that insecurity that's pushing you to push down your former self is the same insecurity can potentially trigger you, and whatever bad eating habits, whatever bad association, relationship you had with food and alcohol can trigger you to go back to the starting point. Do you know what I mean? So for me, everything that's happened to me has made me who I am. All of that has set a foundation where I don't need to I will never view my bigger self in a negative way. And I think that's what helps me be able to navigate the world now, because it's just like, yes, I'm in my final form. I'll be honest, guys, and I told you guys, I'm so happy that I no longer have to embark on any type of massive journey. You know, I don't need to lose like tons and like tens of kg. Now, like, okay, just to kind of keep my weight, you know, I potentially want to lose like 6, 7, 8 kg, 10 kg max, yeah, but nothing too drastic. But all in all, nothing too drastic. I'm just happy at the time where everyone told me not to have confidence. I had confidence. So now I just feel like I'm unshakable. Do you get what I mean? Yes, these changes are definitely having a mental toll on me, because both in terms of recovery, like you can imagine, recovery from 7 procedures has not been easy. And you know what's interesting, and one thing I really want to highlight, yeah? You know, when I look at myself in the mirror, my doctor said to me when he was doing it, he said, oh, mommy, you know, you look so beautiful, your body's so good, but you need, you know, you can go for another round. Meaning that more surgery, right? So he said I can get a breast lift and I can get my thighs done, which I know a lot of people, you know, would want to do if they lost the amount of weight I've lost, or even like a smaller amount. And then you are faced with your new body, your new reality, and you've just had surgery, you've just changed, yeah? And obviously the doctor's saying, yeah, there's a bit more that can be done. Looking at yourself in the mirror and looking at the way I look at myself in my mirror, yeah, is so empirical that I look at myself and be like, I like what I see. I'm looking for things to embrace and accept and love, as opposed to things to change. And that's the truth about when you've lost a lot of weight and you've had surgery. Not everything, my breast is still saggy. Do you know what I mean? My breast is still saggy. My thighs still jiggle. So if I wanted to look at myself with scrutiny as opposed to acceptance, there's definitely more work that I can do. Am I going to go and do that work? No. Because why? Saggy breast ain't never hurt nobody. Saggy breast ain't never hurt nobody. A jiggly thighs, that's between, bro, I'm up here, I'm not looking down here. So my thighs are jiggling, that's none of my business. And the reason why I'm using this example, the reason why I'm actually saying this, yeah, is that you need to know, even when, I told you guys, when you lose the weight, yeah, you're not, unless you generally have an outlook of acceptance of your body. Accepting your body and loving your body doesn't mean that you can't change your body. You accept it for what it is. Do you know what I mean? You accept it that, okay, this is the reality I'm in now. Doesn't mean this is the reality I need to be in all my life. Self-love and self-acceptance doesn't mean stagnation. It doesn't mean that you can't make changes. It's just that you accept that I accept how you are. I love how you are. But to become the better version of yourself, we're going to need to take who you are and become a better version. Do you get what I mean? So I feel like me having that mentality of like accepting myself and loving myself each stage through the journey, yeah, which is why I can look at myself in the mirror. Bro, if my thighs are jiggling, that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing. Whereas if I had the mindset of going through all these changes, all these transformations, and looking for what to change, what to perfect, what to make the ultimate best, what to make and prove to people that, oh look, this is how my arms are, this is how my breasts are, this is how my belly is, this is how my bum is, I will keep chasing acceptance, I'll keep chasing validation, and that can easily happen to anyone, especially when you bring surgery into it. When you bring surgery, and this is an honest conversation I've had with myself, when you bring surgery into the table, that's why you see people that will keep doing surgery again and again and again and again. And this is not me to say I'm never going to do surgery again. Let me tell you guys something. I want to have tall picnics. When I have my tall picnics, I know my belly will be a bit bigger, right? I'm probably gonna go for a little some, you know, tummy tuck revision. That's where they like they retuck the tummy tuck, right? And at that point, you know, I might have a little 360 lipo. Yeah, let me tell you that now. But that's it's not me. The reason why I'm saying that is because I know I'm going to go through a life change. And I know that with pregnancy obviously changes body, yeah. But I'm not like looking at my body now and be like, yeah, I'm going to wait 6 months and I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Because I accept what I see in the mirror. I love what I see in the mirror. Even though people can still say there's changes that needs to be made. Even like, I am gonna, on my Patreon, yeah, when I hit 5 months, which is basically next week, I'm gonna do a video on my Patreon where I'm just in my bra and I'm just in my shorts. I'm gonna show you guys the scars on my arm. I'll show you the scars in my back. I'll show you the scars on my tummy. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm actually scarred up, as you can imagine, with all them procedures. And that's another thing I never think of. I can look at my scars and be like, oh wow, like I got scar hair. Bro, scar ain't never hurt nobody. And I feel like a scar, my scars really show the journey I've been on. So I think life after massive weight loss and life after reconstructive surgery, in as much you guys may get tired of me kind of talking the way I talk, this kind of kumbaya, love thyself, but I'm telling you, the way in which you structure your brain, the way you tell your brain to view life and view yourself is the lens that you see the world. If you are always looking for problems in others, you're looking problems within yourself, you are not going to be happy. And one thing I can say, and I thank God for, I give glory to God, that I genuinely believe I'm happy. I'm not perfect, but I'm happy. I'm not perfect, but I'm the best version of myself that I've ever been in, right? And that's because I've always had a steady mentality that, listen, you can't say what you want to say. When we want to step out, I will step out. But yeah, on that note, I'm going to wrap up the video. I wanted to come on and kind of tell you guys how I'm feeling, how I'm viewing the world. Obviously the changes, people are treating me different, but I'm not letting that get to me. I'm not letting that gas me. I'm not letting that also make me bitter, and I'm not letting that make me resentful. It does, there are moments where it's like, right, like, she would have loved to experience all of this. She would have loved this treatment. This VIP privilege treatment, but it's fine because I'm experiencing it now. Do you know what I mean? I'm experiencing it now. I know how the world truly is. I know that. Let me go and put on 60 kg. Let's see if all the congratulations still be there. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you stay tuned because I'm trying to drop a video every single Sunday. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you've seen, whether you've lost weight, whether you've seen people when they lose weight, how people switch up on them, how they cope with it, whether you've seen people who've lost weight then start kind of like putting a negative outlook or negative message on how they were previously. Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye guys.